Hey everyone, it's Ashley Jones, Event Director at Marketing Showcase. Thanks for watching one of our recordings from Marketing Showcase Online. I really hope you enjoy it, and hopefully I'll see you at another one soon.
So, good morning everybody. I hope you're caffeinated and ready for today's Marketing Showcase. I know I am. But first, before I get started, I want to talk about a couple of bits of housekeeping. So, firstly, if you see the door behind me open during my talk, do not worry, it is not a ghost. It is just my dog Ozzy popping in for a quick visit. And I'll be taking questions at the end of the presentation, but feel free to ask them throughout. So, today I'm here to ask you, what if you could spend just 5 minutes a day improving your Facebook ad campaigns? It's impossible, right? Time is scarce, I know, but poorly maintained digital ad campaigns can quickly head south. So here's how to set yourself up for success on Facebook ads in a manageable and effective way. Hi, I'm Charlie. I'm a paid media consultant at Common Ground. At Common Ground, we have one goal, which is to empower brands of any size to grow their business online through the power of digital marketing. Today, I'm going to be teaching you how to improve your Facebook ads. Who am I and why am I qualified to talk about Facebook ads? Well, I've been working on Facebook ads for about 6 years now across a variety of B2B and B2C brands. So that's charities, law firms, software, and e-commerce. As I said, sometimes this was a one-man band where Facebook ads was just one responsibility I had. And sometimes I had a fantastic powerhouse of a copywriting and design team behind me. This means I've been both severely under-resourced and had to pull projects together across really large marketing teams, which is why I'm sure there'll be something in this presentation for you to take away, no matter where you work. The idea of this presentation came from a book I was given called Making Websites Win, from the brains behind conversion rate experts. In it, they discuss the approach they take to improving website conversion rates, which is by splitting the project into its elements. In this case, your audience, call to action, ad copy, imagery, videos, landing page, and reporting. Not only will this make your Facebook ads more manageable, workload-wise, but I find it's the key to continuously improving by making small changes and always testing. Improving your conversion rates by 50% sounds terrifying, but when you break it down, you'd actually only need to improve your ad copy, for example, by 8.3% if you treat each of these individual things as an individual element. The odds are even better when you've got multiple ads to worry about. If you're somewhat forgetful, I advise adding these 5-minute stints to your calendar or project management tool. Maybe when you're getting a coffee or you find 5 extra minutes before lunch. And now for a disclaimer. I truly believe you can improve your Facebook ads in just 5 minutes a day. This is not a gimmick. Agency life has taught me to be really efficient, but it does require you to either be semi-comfortable on Facebook ads or be able to use Google. Alternatively, there's another great book I recommend called The Ultimate Guide to Facebook Advertising, 4th edition, which is my favorite reference book on the subject. Let's kick off by talking about Facebook ads audiences, as this is a great place to start for any campaign. Do you have a spare 5 minutes between Zoom calls? I know they're frequent, but I'm sure you can find one somewhere. Choose one of these actions to improve your audience targeting. Duplicate an existing campaign and modify the audience to attract customers in a different stage of the funnel. Bonus points if you can change the ad copy in 5 minutes tomorrow too. To create a highly engaged audience, you should narrow their interests and behaviors. This way, members of your audience will have to hit at least 2 criteria in order to qualify to see your ad. The best way to do this is to group your audiences together into similar topics. For example, let's say I want to target people interested in a cat cafe. I want them to have both interests in cats and food and drink in order to qualify. So it's easy to apply the same principle to your business. When I ask people who their target audience is, so many people reply, everyone. But by thinking this way, the creative you put out there can easily be bland and unpersonalized, and you risk missing out on highly relevant customers because you're not speaking directly to them. A good way to reset this mentality is to think about who you'd exclude from your target audience, aka who is least likely to buy. This could be a certain demographic, age range, interests, or how about the customers who bought something from you in the last week? Are they likely to purchase again so soon? There's nothing worse than your previous purchase following you around the internet, and you've already bought it, so it's kind of pointless. Having reliable past data will really help out with this step in GA and your CRM. You should already have an audience of website converters set up on Facebook. If not, now would be a great time to go and do this. Well, after this webinar, of course. It's then really easy to create a lookalike audience in Facebook ads by clicking on Audiences, Create Audience, Lookalike Audience, and selecting a source audience. Lookalike audiences are people Facebook has deemed similar to those, in this case, who have previously purchased or downloaded something from your site, which makes them an excellent choice for future targeting. Now we're going to talk about the Facebook ads call to action. So as you can see here, there's a little call to action button, which I've highlighted, but a call to action can also be in your ad copy too. What's the one thing you want people to do when they see your Facebook ad? This is your call to action, or CTA. Don't overcomplicate it. Just get them to the next step in their journey. And always change the CTA button from Learn More. It's really rarely ever the best option. These are easy improvements you can make whilst you're in between emails or drinking your morning coffee. Aim to optimize one campaign a day and you'll be finished in no time. Facebook ads copy. Ad copy and landing pages are my personal favorites, and I could talk about this forever, but I've tried to shorten it down to just a few slides. You have 5 minutes before lunch? Great, here's how you can use it. Take these ad copy amends one campaign at a time. You need to be niche and focus on just a single ad set. All ads within that particular set should have the same theme and appeal to the same audience. That way, when they're seen, there's nothing odd about them. They're all going to apply to that person. After you've worked at your business for a while, it can be really hard to see it with fresh eyes. This is where the opinions of new hires are absolutely invaluable. Get them to take a look at your ads. What do they think? De-jargon yourself. Focus on what's best for the customer, not the business, and imagine describing your services to your mum if you have to. Remember to always start with the benefits in your ad copy. Everyone's always a little bit selfish, whether they admit to it or not, and features and advantages are always less interesting. A little personalization also goes a long way. Don't miss out on your 30% discount. Will likely be much more effective than don't miss the 30% off sale we are having. If you can take this a step further with clever remarketing campaigns, do it. Remarketing can make it look like you remember what item the customer was interested in or what items they have in their cart, and that's even better. This is my ad copy checklist that I've compiled together from a few sources. You want to aim to hit at least 3 or 4 of these per ad group. So make sure your ad is short, accurate, relevant, useful, convenient, helpful, educational, and engaging. That sounds like a lot. If you can feature them all in a single ad, congratulations, that's advertising gold. Okay, if you're really stuck and maybe you've never tried Facebook ads before, here are some tools to help. Even Facebook ads pros hit a word wall from time to time. I know I do. Use this related words tool and Power Thesaurus to help you get unstuck. Whereas maybe you're new to Facebook ads, you could try out some of these generators. Now, don't worry, the robots aren't taking over our jobs just yet. They really won't replace a good advertising specialist, but they're great at providing ideas and helping you get started. Then you can tweak the copy and use it for your ads. Sadly, we can't have creative as interesting as this person riding a unicorn, but we can try. Your images are the most important part of your ad. They're what people will notice and what stops them scrolling on by and then watching a cat video or some other thing on Facebook. Relevant imagery is far more memorable than irrelevant stock. Your images need to be high quality, not pixelated, and readable on a small phone screen, which is my personal pet peeve when including text. If you're in B2B, a product demo will go a really long way versus that stock photography that I'm sure you've all seen. Whilst B2C should opt for user-generated content wherever possible, as this fits the social setting of Facebook. Alternatively, you can use content that's made to look like it's user-generated content, a trend I'm sure you've noticed. Don't forget to change up your creative at least every few months, or more frequently, depending on your budget. Creative fatigue is a real phenomenon. Unfortunately, creating great imagery can be time-consuming, So I'm going to bend my own rule here and suggest that you batch create a series of branded image templates that are easily editable. Not only will this save you time in the long run, hello new 5-minute creative, but it'll allow you to change and test small elements against one another. Dynamic ads are great for this, as you can upload a number of similarly designed assets, headings, and descriptions, and the best will serve more frequently. Think of it as really small scale A/B testing. So you could change the ad copy, the header, any element you wanted, and you can see which performed best. Facebook adds image resources. So whilst design teams are great, if you don't have one, you can still create fairly good imagery for Facebook ads. Here are some free resources to help you make the best of it. Although I'd suggest getting inventive on Canva and straying away from their default templates, as they tend to get a lot of use out there. For those of you who are in an absolute life or death stock situation, and I really mean that, you can use these websites here. Ads with imagery, the best video ads tend not to look like ads at all. TikTok actually advised advertisers to film, well, TikToks to get the best of the results on the platform. Test out different formats whilst keeping it short. And by short, I mean less than 90 seconds if you really have to, although I tend to always opt for shorter. Always include captions or subtitles on videos. First, for accessibility, and second, for those who watch videos with the sound off. Make sure to repeat your CTA in the middle of the video too, to hit as many people as you can, because no matter how great your ad is and how perfect the targeting may be, people will drop off before the end. But how do I fit this all into 5 minutes, I hear you cry? It's easy, but you do need an existing video ad to work from. I'm not a miracle worker. Take the video you have and look for a free online video splitter. Cut the most interesting chunks out and use them as new video ads. The following day, I want you to do the exact same process, but look for a video resizer to create landscape, square, or portrait assets. Be mindful of your existing content if it wasn't optimized for these formats, and give it a watch to make sure you're not cutting out any important elements like parts of URLs. Bonus, the same content can also be repurposed for organic social too, and it can sometimes make great GIFs. What about if you don't have an existing video to use though? Well then, these are great tips to follow in your next creative brief. When starting any new creative project, think about how it can be repurposed across multiple platforms to A, get the best bang for your buck, and B, create a cohesive multi-channel campaign easily. Here's a top tip. By including more video formats, so that's horizontal, square, vertical, and portrait, your ads will fit into more ad inventory, meaning they have the potential to be seen in more places. The same is true for different sized images. So once more for the people in the back, repurposing is the ultimate time saver when it comes to Facebook ad creative. When working out the quality of your ad, Facebook takes into account the quality of your landing page too. Your ad and your landing page need to tell the same story. Whatever you've promised in your ad needs to feature on your landing page, front and center. They need to look consistent too. Focus on making it readable. Use the same language and include a clear CTA which repeats throughout the page. A little repetition never hurt anyone. Your landing page also needs to be mobile friendly and load quickly, else you risk losing the user's attention. Google Page Speed Insights can be excellent at helping you with this process and showing you areas to improve. Lastly, let's talk about Facebook ads reporting. It's great to have important data at your fingertips. Customize and save the default columns that display on Facebook Ads Manager. Create a version for daily checks, monthly reporting, or even pull some up-to-date campaign stats before a particular meeting. You can also create a set to monitor all of the changes we've talked about today. What these metrics will look like for you depends on what's important to your business and the goals of your campaign. If you're a more visual learner, like me, you can download the output to a spreadsheet and add some colorful conditional formatting. It's how I get through my monthly reports. With a quick VLOOKUP, it's really easy to then create monthly reports using this output in Excel too. So in summary, make your Facebook ads manageable by breaking them down into components and focus on continuous small improvements every day. I hope you've learned that just 5 well-spent minutes can make all the difference. Now, go try it for yourself. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoy the rest of the showcase. I am personally excited for tomorrow's Facebook Q&A hosted by James and Nick from the Let's Run Facebook Ads podcast. However, if you can't wait and you have any questions about anything I've mentioned in my presentation, here are my contact details. Thanks.
Charlie, you're a legend. That was awesome. So slick. I'm sure everyone, little round of applause in the chat for Charlie, please. Nice. Everyone's been very helpful. I'm sure you can see it. We have got some questions that have come in, Charlie. So if you don't mind answering those, we'll get straight into it. Just before we do, I'm going to launch a little poll in true Marketing Showcase online fashion. Now, this is if you want to get either 50% off a Facebook ads audit or a free Facebook ads ROI calculator from the guys at Common Ground. That's what they're offering, and you can use the poll to get a hold of that. So Amy's asked, Charlie, do you think Facebook ads are appropriate for promoting to those working in the education sector? And if you could just talk about who Facebook ads target best, that would be great.
So Facebook ads is widely known to have, in my opinion as well, the best targeting. However, when you're looking at jobs or people who work in specific sectors, it might be that LinkedIn could be more appropriate. So the best thing I advise you doing is to sit there and have a play around, create a Facebook audience and see if it's right for you. Because as good as I am, I can't tell you exactly off the top of my head what targeting it offers for your particular sector. So sit there, have a play around. If you get a great audience, excellent, try it. If not, maybe think about using LinkedIn.
Cool. Thank you very much. Emma's asked, adding to the question above, those working in a profit. So that's actually, there's a couple of questions there talking about ads for charity. Is there any sort of guidance you can give for those that work in the third sector about charity related ads?
So I've worked with a couple of charities, and again, I would advise it depends on what your charity is. So get on Facebook ads, have a play around, create an audience. You don't have to spend any money to do this. You can just sit there and add different people, add different job titles, add different interests, and develop an audience that you think will work. There's a great little thermometer down the side when you're creating the audiences, so you can see kind of who you're hitting, whether it's too many people, whether it's too few. And honestly, playing around is how I got started with Facebook ads. So definitely recommend it.
Great. Okay. Now this one's going almost straight over my head, so you might have to explain this one to me a little bit. But Abby's asked, what are your thoughts on the latest ISO update and how will this impact Facebook ads and who they reach? So what on earth is an ISO update?
Okay, so I think Abby means the iOS update. So iOS is an operating system on the iPhone. Apple have started introducing a lot more privacy measures. So I don't know if any of you have iPhones, but I do. And when I'm opening apps nowadays, it's saying, do you want to ask the app to track your permissions or do you not? And this is what the update is all about. It's giving you privacy, which unfortunately means for advertisers like me, I'm losing out on a bunch of data. It's much more difficult to then go ahead and target. So whilst you can then still target everything fairly normally, what you're going to see the impact in is your remarketing campaigns and your retargeting campaigns. It's much more difficult to get that data for usage if people are saying, actually, I don't want you to track me. So before you start panicking, you can check the breakdown of iOS versus Android devices using your analytics. Make sure that it might be 50%, it might be 80%, depends how worried you have to be. But because this change has happened, unfortunately, it's about 6-7 weeks in, we can't do anything about it now. I would focus on building your customer lists. So the emails that you get from customers when they sign up to your newsletter or input their details. And that way you can still remarket to those people, even if you're losing the data of people using the app.
Nice, great advice. Okay, now questions are coming in thick and fast, and we haven't got a huge amount of time. So if I could ask visitors, whilst I go all blurry, I'm going to go off camera and back on here. If I could ask visitors to head to the Q&A bar and upvote those that you want to hear me ask and the answers, get answers from Charlie, that would be great. So Charlie, you're on the hot seat now. So we're going to do these in quick fire fashion. So is there any, oh, they're going around all over the place now. Might have to give them a second just to leverage. Okay. What's a good average click-through rate for Facebook ads? Can you benchmark our audience?
Oh, I can tell you that it varies. So I think WordStream is an excellent resource for getting industry benchmarks for your ads. So I would have a look at some of the blog posts they do and find out what it is for your industry, because it is going to vary depending on what sector you're in.
Yeah, WordStream. Was that one of the ones that you had in your talk? Because I put...
It is not, unfortunately. It is like a third-party PPC management tool. I
Right.
think it's excellent, but yeah, they do great blogs too.
But I've just, if anyone wants to reference that, I've put it in the chat just in case they want to go back to that. Lynn has asked, it may be a bit long in the tooth, but social media often looks very messy and unstructured. How do you cut through that noise to ensure you get noticed?
So I'm assuming you're talking about the feed. As you're scrolling down, you're seeing my favorite cat and dog videos, advertisers from digital marketing agencies for me, and various other bits. Personalization and targeting is how you cut through it. So you're focusing on a very specific segment or group of people with your ad. So that way, when I see your ad, I know you're talking to me and I'm immediately interested. It goes back to what I was saying, that your target audience isn't everyone. So make sure you're really focusing those ad groups on particular groups of people. For example, I wrote an ad earlier for small businesses, mentioned it in the copy, mentioned it in the headline, mentioned it everywhere, because then if you've got a small business, you're more likely to read my ad.
Brilliant. And just following on from that, I'm not sure whether you're going to have a silver bullet answer for this one, but for those that have got kind of a new product coming out or a new business, perhaps with a low amount of customer data to kind of refer to who your perfect target audience is, they're finding it very hard to build that target audience. Have you got any advice or a good starting point to really build those audiences?
Always test. So I never set up an ad and go, this is the target audience, this is what it's going to stay as forever. It's never going to work that way. So try something, see what the results were, test it against another ad. If you have two running at the same time, two different ad groups, two different target audiences, test it, see which one works better. And then as you're sending people to your website, you will be generating traffic that you can then use to remarket once you hit a certain threshold. And you will obviously be increasing the number of email addresses you're getting if you're sending them to, for example, a lead gen form.
Brilliant, good answer. And just to sort of add to that, it's not a question that's come in, but talk to me about budgets required to do those tests, and where should our audience be thinking, how much do they need to strip out of the Christmas party fund to start testing?
I mean, if it was up to me, I'm not much of a partier, but I do love my advertising. Thankfully, it's not. So Facebook ads is relatively cheap. In the grand scheme of things, it's one of the cheaper networks. And it is a case of testing it, trying it. If you don't feel like you're getting enough clicks, seeing if you can up the budget, tweak the audience, tweak the ads. It's constantly about changing what you're doing to optimize. So try it with what little budget you have. It might be £5 a day, and then go from there.
Brilliant. Right, back to the structured Q&A. So this has got 5 upvotes, which means it's a fairly popular question. So where do you start if your business has never engaged with Facebook ads? What would you say is the most important first step? And that's from Laura Ball.
Okay, so this is easy. Tracking, hands down. So you want to make sure there's a thing called a Facebook pixel that you need to implement on your site. You want to make sure your website has that. If you're not versed in the technical side of things, honestly, Google it. There are plenty of articles out there that'll tell you how to implement it. And this means that you can track people who are going from Facebook to your website. And this is really important because then you can see what ads are converting. Whereas otherwise, you're making that judgment based on things like click-through rate or clicks, which are maybe not as accurate.
Brilliant. Easy. Louise has asked that I use LinkedIn ads for our ground engineering company, but I feel we should be using Facebook ads due to the generic audience spending more time on Facebook. Do B2B ads need to be more conversational? And what are the best offers you've seen personally for B2B?
So my last business was B2B. I worked in-house and we had great success using lead gen forms on Facebook. We found that people were more inclined to enter their details, which was great. We also offered them guides, which I know might not be appropriate for you, but anything that you can offer that creates kind of value for free, that's easy to download, that's another great thing to have on Facebook as well.
Cool. Now this one's just coming at the bottom. I'm going to go out of turn here, but I think it's a good one. Grace is working in a company that is against the Facebook pixel for whatever reason. You know, it's just their belief. So is there another way to get around that?
There are other things you can use, like you can get so much from GA, which is Google Analytics, which is great. But for remarketing, it's not going to be ideal. As I have said, you can use customer data. So go on your CRM, download customer data that's within a relevant time frame. So if you're talking like you have longer leads, maybe 6 months. If you're talking shorter, might go for a month, and then remarket that way.
Cool. Thank you. There's 2 questions left, so I think we're going to be able to squeeze these in. 2 questions in 2 minutes. So the first one, actually, no, that's a nice one to finish on. So let's go with this one. Is there any possibility of recapping the landing page section of your presentation? I'm going to kill that one there. We've recorded the session and I'll send that out very quickly, so don't worry about that. So let's finish with top 3 tips for getting started with Facebook ads.
Oh, okay. Set up an account, obviously. Have a play around. Without anything running, you're not going to be spending money. So I highly advise going in, having a play around. There's a website called Facebook Blueprint as well, on top of the books that I recommended, but that's a thing by Facebook that has all the information there for you to kind of test and play about and get used to it, which is excellent. And then I know you said 3, but I'm going to mention that Facebook Pixel again.
Hi everyone, thanks for watching another recording from Marketing Showcase Online. I hope you enjoyed it. Just to let you know, we've got all of the recordings uploaded to our brand new YouTube channel, so go over there and check it out if you want some more great content. We run these events once every month, free of charge, so head over to our website to grab tickets for next month's event. I look forward to seeing you there.